I want to share with you an experience I learned and a lesson on forgiveness that I've recently interacted with in life. So as you may know, I moved recently here in this apartment about a month ago. The situation that led to me being here is where the forgiveness plays in. The landlord I used to have that I was renting from, a few months ago, I woke up to a completely disrespectful text message, completely out of nowhere, uncalled for. And I won't get into too much detail, but it was a damn essay of disrespect. Part of it was him calling me names and almost insinuating that he wants to fight me. And I had no idea where this was coming from. I messaged him saying, hey, I think when you get home from work, we need to sit down and talk. I think there's a misunderstanding somewhere. Completely disrespectful. That led to me looking for a place to live. Me and Danielle decided we're gonna move to another province, thankfully. And I've been left with this nasty taste in my mouth of this guy. And I just wrote him off in my head as like completely disrespectful, an example of an irrational human being, and left it at that. A few weeks into us living here, I got a text message from him. By the way, we hadn't spoke for 2 months prior to me leaving. I paid him when I needed to pay him, and I just left without letting him know. So I got a text from him. He basically said he had stage 4 cancer, and he's refused all treatment and medications, and he's expecting to die within a few months, realistically. But he also said he's looking forward to it. I think he said he's looking forward to that eternal sleep in a pine box. Anyways, that was his way. I've lived with him for 7 years. That was his way of saying sorry. That thought got me thinking, like, man, I get it. To be a consciousness flung into this world and you're trying to go through life and you make sometimes serious mistakes, and sometimes you don't make any mistakes at all. And it leads you into a situation that's difficult. All the time I've known him, the 7 years I've been renting from him, he wasn't necessarily a pleasant guy to be around. And it was easy for me to judge him. But the more I think about it, it's like, man, how can we judge somebody, in his case, somebody that went through life working hard, a job he didn't like. He's been working it for like 30 years at like a factory, essentially. You get through it by saying, okay, just 10 more years, just 5 more years to get to retirement. He's almost 60. So he's almost retired. And like you go through your life of struggle and you say, okay, well, at least when I get there, to that point in life, I'll be able to relax and reap my rewards. And then a few years before that time you've been waiting for, you get a note from a doctor saying, you have stage 4 cancer, you have 6 months to live. And he's just like, you know what, I'm so tired of this life. I don't want to make headache medication, I'll gladly die. When I think about that, it's like, man, like, although the text he sent me and the way he was treating me was completely out of line, and I don't condone that, how can I blame you? Look what you have to put up with in your life. So the reason I taught this to forgiveness as a lesson that I've learned, you know, I've always known forgiveness, who hasn't, but you learn it at a deeper and deeper level, right? There's levels to this. The reason that applies to me here is because despite how bad he was treating me and how disrespectful he was speaking to me, I start to realize, I become more human, and I realize, man, we're all going through this life without a rule book. We're gonna make mistakes, we're all flawed, right? We're all not gonna make the best decisions. Although you can forgive somebody, it doesn't take away the impact of what they did, right? Actions have consequences. It's just like the law of cause and effect. So even though you did all of that stuff, like, you found you're dying. You've had to come to terms with death. And I expect you to also be able to not make some bad decisions with the way you interact with me. No, that's a heavy burden to bear. He's coming to face with death. I mean, he's kind of already came to face with death. He's refusing any help. Forgiveness is important, and not because it makes you a good person, but because it shows that you've humbled yourself to life, that you realized the human condition is complicated and we make mistakes. You realized that the only reason you are not like that person, or you didn't do what that person did, is because you didn't get handed the same deck of cards as that person. You're humbling yourself to life. You're realizing, hey, if I was going through what they're going through, shoot, maybe I would have did the same thing. I forgive the man. I forgive him. Understanding. I'm constantly learning how to become more understanding of others. And as I learn to understand others, my understanding of everything else increases. Go figure. I think the beauty of forgiveness is being able to see yourself in other people. That's what it is. That's forgiveness. Forgiveness is being able to see yourself in other people. So I hope this realization kind of gave you something to think about the way it has for me. I appreciate you taking time and watching this video and hanging out, vibing out, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.